All right, says we're live.
We're
Live,
live.
live, live, live. Let's see who jumps
I
on this motherfucker.
I see we are live. It shows that we're live. This is the first time we are live. This is good.
First time we are live.
All right.
So now I'm trying to see if I could get through my phone. This is trying to see if I can see it through my phone, but I don't see shit. But we
So
got
it's only on StreamYard you can add how many people to StreamYard?
um I think it's four. Like to the panel.
Yeah, on the panel.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, cool.
I know me I know the other day me and Rachel and Kiki went on.
For
Iburu
this?
Boya Bocheche, fresh to death, 1975. Iburu Boya, how you doing? What's the word? And, I keep dropping off.
Even getting out of the chat. I'm like, ah, and I'm back
I
here.
know. I
So
was like, what happened to Brian? What's the deal? What's the deal? We riding right now, Brian. I don't
yeah.
know. I can't tell how many people are in, but we're definitely in.
Okay, let me just
We're
connect.
definitely popping.
Yes, we are.
Can you see it on your end? Like if you go, oh, you're on your phone. You can't. I
I
was gonna say.
can't. I don't know.
I was after dark. Yeah, a little something. You know, we trying to step it up a little bit, baby. You know how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is. I was after dark. Actually, no, this is the wrong one. Remove that. We're not doing that. That account. Join chat. Connect. Do this one. That's perfect. Continue.
Share and like
Allow.
this live if you're on here. Share and like it up, like it up, like it up.
Yep. Like, share, and follow, please. Welcome to another test run of Awards After Dark.
Yes.
I am your present host at the moment. Well, actually, I'm not really the host of this whole thing. My name is Brian Takeo. My Odu is Obade Iwori. I am an Awuni Orumila Oni Yemaya. I'm here, and the main host of this whole thing is Jose Osaeshu Onishango Omo Odu. So we're testing out this chat to see how everything works out. The sound is good, and the conversation is right, and we'll think happy thoughts and hope everything turns out to be well. So
I'm trying to. I'm trying to
can I enlarge? No, I can't.
what are you trying to do?
No, I want to see if I can enlarge the picture in my on my phone, but that's not going to happen. That's okay. It's like it's not that serious. Oh,
So it's the first time on our YouTube live on our Walls After Dark. This is a little test run we trying to do here. Gonna have some topics that we're gonna talk about, some things that we're gonna go on and say, things that are not meant for TikTok, things that are
oh,
not meant for TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
some things, we want to be able to. We want to have a conversation with people and connect with others and try to understand where they're coming from and their viewpoints, and then they want them. Well, we want them to understand our viewpoints, and you know. But at the same time, understanding viewpoints and perspectives are nice, but we're also here to figure out resolutions or solutions to many of the things that we understand in the religion. Uh, I'm not here to try to change the world. Neither of us are here to change the world. We're just here trying to ask questions and have conversations that people are sometimes comfortable and uncomfortable about, you know. But that's the whole thing. We're having a conversation, we're trying to, you know, find a common ground.
Apete Boru. I tried to send it to Will, trying to get Will up in here. Ryan's not used to YouTube. Ryan's not used to YouTube. You keep falling off.
No, I'm not used to YouTube. I keep falling out, and it's
we
just like,
gotta. We gotta evolve.
I know.
Uh,
We
we, we
gotta,
gotta we gotta evolve, bro. Because what happens when TikTok goes away?
if TikTok goes away, if it doesn't
If
go away, hey,
I mean they've been banging on that door for what, a year now.
yeah, they've been banging on that door for a while, and uh,
The only thing I don't like about this is I don't know how to I can't share it. Like if I invite from here, it's gonna invite people to the panel. But if I can't figure out how. That's why I was trying to go on my YouTube to see if I see it. So I could share it, but it won't. I don't see it.
mm.
So I don't even know how. That's the only thing. I guess you got to have people do that for you or whatever. I don't know.
Mm.
Trials and tribulations, whoever's in this.
Yeah, it's
We're
all
trying to
about
make
just
it happen.
trying to make it happen, figure things out. Like I'm looking through settings and like options for the camera. You know, the audio I got figured out, so that's not a problem. It's when you start doing like, oh, let's add somebody, you know. But
It's
we'll
just
figure it out.
crazy how there's so many there's so many um different fucking ways to stream, and everybody and their mother's doing it. Like, I mean, I be seeing some of these people on live for um uh like 7-8 hours, and I think that's insane, dude. Like, I think that's outrageous. Like, I don't think I mean, I guess that's how you get a lot of people watching this shit. Anyway, I would be love to be able to see how many people are actually watching, so that way, um,
Well, I mean, look,
uh,
I was in today. Whenever I was telling you, like I was helping a friend out, and we were in a botanica, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, oh my God, Brian, that's you, Iburuboya." And I'm like, "Iburuboya, but Chiche, how are you?" I'm like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "Yeah, I've seen you on your TikTok, and I'm there, and I see the live chat, and you're there, and then Palino's there, and all those people." Like, yeah, well, just you just gotta keep it light, we just do our part, talk, and that's it. We don't go crazy, you know. He's trying to step it up and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't really go into it because I don't know in terms of this, how is this going to work? But, it's a process. We're figuring it out. We're piecing it all together. So, you know,
yeah, I think I know you and I talked about it yesterday. Um, I want to talk about. I think one of the first topics I want to bring out. Maybe we'll I don't know. Maybe we'll delve into fucking TikTok later. Um, about people. I want to start what I was. Um, I don't really know. I don't really know. Like, I think me and you need to talk about it, or we all need to talk about. I want to talk to people that um have come into this tradition, whether as priests, or Valayos or whatever, and then and are not Spanish speaking and have not grown up in this, which I think is a very sensitive topic because there's a lot of people that aren't able to grow, I guess, so to speak, because not grow, but like it's harder for people who can't speak Spanish, who haven't grown up in this, to figure out, you know, what what type of um what type of path they're gonna take, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, totally. Listen, there are a lot of people in this religion, especially like non-Spanish speakers, who do not really grasp this religion. Okay, and many of them who don't grasp the religion, kind of like fall into it, because of whatever said situation they were in, previously, or they have a friend that's in it, or they have someone that's initiated in it, and they have like it's all these things. It's like a whole mixture of everything. And we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different environments. And even for me, like take myself for instance, like I didn't know anything about the religion. Like I knew of it, I mean, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican and I grew up and I knew about the religion, but I wasn't like in it the way like other people I've seen who are in it since they were kids and that they grew up that their father was an obao, or that their mother was a santera, or their father was a santero, or their father was an oluo, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, and I grew up around it. I didn't have that, like I really didn't have that. Like my background for me is like I'm not a native Spanish speaker. That's the first thing I'm telling you. Like my primary language is English. So, you know, coming from that background and then coming from a Roman Catholic background where my dad, may he rest in peace, he was a deacon in the Catholic Church for almost like 30 plus years. So all I knew was like Sunday church and going home. And I knew of Espiritismo on my mother's side, but like, it was always like we would go to church, go home, that's it on Sundays, and that was it. And I had like a regular American lifestyle, so to speak, you know. But there are people who are even more in depth than I am, where they're just like they just had a regular American lifestyle that they didn't know any of this religion at all. Like along the way, I've met people who are like, you know, who are not Hispanic, who are white and in this religion. And it's amazing to see that. And when you ask them like, how did you get into it? A lot of them were like, well, it was the culture when I went to Cuba, or when I was hanging out with Cubans, or hanging out with Puerto Ricans, or whatever. So it that's the whole thing of how people get into the religion. Now,
That's what I mean. Like, I think that, like, when you, at least you have a Hispanic background, and growing up
right.
in New York, I mean, even if you weren't involved in the religion, it's definitely very prominent. I grew up in New York, so the religion is very prominent there.
Of course.
Like my primary language at home was always English. But I was born in Puerto Rico. Hold on a second. My primary language at home was when we moved to New York was English, but then my grandmother spoke Spanish, my grandfather spoke Spanish. I was born in Puerto Rico, so it wasn't very difficult to kind of like. Plus, my grandfather was a santero. Uh, um, my mother obviously is a santera. My grandma, you know what I'm saying. So like I mean, dude, there was freaking misas in my house every other fucking weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, that was like um a thing. So, I see a lot, like the majority of my god kids are American, either, African American or Caucasian or whatever. I have very few Hispanic god kids. Um, and I think that that's the reason why, like, the social media space took off so hard, was because that there was a lot of newly um initiated people that speak English, and then it just, it spread like wildfire. It just got out of crazy. It just got crazy. Um, and then when I mean crazy, it meant it gave the exposure of our tradition to the masses. Um, and then not only gave the exposure of our tradition to the masses, but then it allowed all these people who just, I think the misconception when you don't grow up in this, and I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, so please don't take it that way. I think the misconception when it comes to our tradition, for people that don't grow up in this, is like, you're gonna have power, right? So power. I'm gonna have power. I'm gonna be able to do spells, and, like, bro, this is not Harry Potter, bro. Like, when I hear people on social media with the spells and the potions and bro, this ain't Harry Potter, bro. Like, what? Like, even as a Babala, what fucking potion do we make? There's no such a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a potion.
Uh,
It's like, I mean, yes,
yeah.
witchcraft absolutely does exist, but there's many forms of it, right? There's many forms of what that means. I mean, you don't necessarily have to physically do something. You could wish bad on something, and it can happen, right? The power of of the tongue. You don't necessarily even have to be initiated to do that. But dude, it's just so, like, it's crazy because I understand, like, a lot of the people that don't speak Spanish are kind of pushed away from the people that do speak Spanish, or only speak Spanish, because it's hard for them to communicate. And then they're looked at like, you know, um, I don't know, like targets maybe, right?
I mean, like, yeah, like the language barrier tends to be a problem for a lot of people in this religion. And now, well, actually, in the beginning, like, way back, the Wayback Machine, all the way back, the primary language is always Spanish. But then, of course, times change, and so must we, and we live in an age where the information is more accessible. It's not like, oh, you have to, you know, you got to be in it to win it for whatever. No, you still have to learn like everybody else from whoever priest or priestess you're learning from. But the information is not so difficult or so complicated to be able to retrieve, you know? And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is like, in terms of in terms of that, since we live in a social media world, it's easier to just like kind of understand the religion. But in terms of the language, that's always going to be a barrier that's there. That's a consistent barrier, but it's not a barrier that's like, ooh, I'm this is the cutoff. That's as far as it goes. No, because now you have people who are English speakers, people who are capable of speaking other languages as well, that can be able to translate for other people. So it's not just like, oh, well, they speak Spanish, so it's a problem. Like, no, not anymore. Not as it's not as much as before, you know? But okay.
my bad.
No, it's fine. I'm just going through the comments. I'm just looking through the comments.
No, no.
But yeah,
That's a
it's
problem.
like like I said, the language barrier is like, yeah, we have a language barrier, but it's not like it wasn't as bad as years before. Like years before, if you didn't know Spanish, you're screwed. There is no way around it. Now it's like you don't, I mean, you should know some level of Spanish, but it's not like the be all end all of the situation because I'm a native English speaker and you know there are a lot of people that'll be willing to kind of explain things, but also it comes down to the education of the actual priest or priestess, like their level of education. And I'm not talking about college, high school, all that. I'm talking about their level of education in terms of the religion itself. Because many of them like take on godchildren, but then they themselves don't have the knowledge or the skill to be able to tend to godchildren or to be able to teach godchildren, you know. So that's like one of the big that's the biggest barrier for people in this religion, and it's like it's a problem. This is an obstacle that's like consistent, you know. And people need, you know, we need to re-examine that. We need to re-examine that and figure out solutions that will be a lot easier. Now obviously the easiest or most obvious solution to this situation is that they have to go and practice and learn and train and you know and dedicate their time or some of their time in learning, you know, which is a big, huge problem I see in the religion. It's like, you know, we all have jobs. I get it. We're in the US, so we have jobs, we have responsibilities. Um,
But that's what
some
I'm
most
okay.
of
But that thing that right there, what you're saying right there is that's what I'm saying. Like people are more like I think we live in a day and age. Like forget about our tradition, right? I think we live in a day and age where everybody's so consumed with social media, the YouTube, right? The not having face to face verbal conversation, right?
Mhm.
So people have these awkward, um, I don't want to say awkward, just a personality where they can't, we live in a day and age where people can't have a conversation in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or afraid to ask questions. Everything's a text message or let me post this question on some fucking platform
Yeah,
or
that's yeah,
right. So
definitely.
so this is where the social media space became so prominent and everybody overnight became witches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
It's like it's
everybody
very
overnight.
instant. Like there's another continuous problem is like people kind of go and say, well, I don't know what to ask. I don't know what questions to ask. I don't know what questions to I don't know how to ask these questions. I'm like, but see, this is where I have to say it's like, you know what? This is where your critical thinking skills have to come in because what if you're going into any religion or any type of faith or any type of religious any type of philosophy, whatnot, wouldn't you think you'd have to do your research? Wouldn't you think that you have to ask questions? Because I'm even the most basic questions like, okay, what is Ifa? What is Orisha? What, what do each Orisha symbolize? What does a priest or a priestess do? What does a Baal do? Like those are questions, those are basic questions anybody can ask. Now, it can go even further advanced. Excuse me, hold on. It can go even further advanced by saying, let's say the person has warriors. How do I take care of my warriors, Balino? Like you're not gonna ask that question, or even how do I take care of my warriors, Malina? Because some people they get now. Of course, in E5 we believe that we the only people who should be giving out warriors is the Baal. I understand that, but let's take it even to the Olarisha perspective, because there are Olarishas that give out warriors, they give out a Legua and whatnot. And they ask, well, how do I take care of these things, right? Those are questions that like an advanced question that you would ask, but people don't. I mean, because we live in a social media age, it's like, yes, we're going to ask questions in chat. But then at the same time, even though we're in a social media age, you will see people not really ask questions at all because they think that the answers are just going to be given to them just like that. Very instant. Like, here, we're going to give you all the answers. We're going to give you
Well,
every explanation. No,
that's the expectation, right? That's the
right. I
expectation
mean,
of how what's the fastest way for me to get the answer, and what's the fastest way for me to learn everything.
But the problem with that is that if you're not the thing is that, okay, they're expecting an answer like that. But the problem is that if you're not inquisitive, then you're not going to get anywhere. And you know what? Even when people ask questions and they don't get an answer, that's fine too. That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. But that should not compel you to say, okay, I'm not going to ask questions anymore. Witchcraft is different than Ifa. Oh, I see the chat right in front of me. Okay, cool. I see the chat in
Oh,
front
I
of me.
just added that. I just added that.
Oh, okay.
I like the comments. So if you go to I'll explain that later. But yeah, I just put that there so we could. I didn't want to forget to address that, so that's why I was letting you finish.
Right, it leads to that point too. So, Zoe,
that's Mystic.
Mystic. Oh, Mystic. Okay. Well, it leads to those questions like, is that witchcraft? Is it this? You know. But if you again see questions like that, that's okay. There's nothing wrong to ask about that question, and can be easily answered. Witchcraft is different than well, it's a statement actually. Witchcraft is different than Ifa. Yeah, witchcraft is different than Ifa. You know, so it's a matter of understanding. What up, brother? How y'all doing? What's the topic of today? Well, we're talking about we're going into the religion, and we're talking about how being being people who are native English speakers going into this religion when they've never most of these people do not speak Spanish.
Hold on. To be clear, this is mine and Brian's first thing. So that we're here to talk about the topics that are upcoming, but what we're touching on now is exactly what Brian's talking about, right? What our first topic, like I want to bring people on the panel. We collectively want to bring people on the panel that didn't necessarily grow up in this and are not Spanish speaking. And I think that's a good topic because there's an abundance of people out there that are in that category. And it's not as easy to find an elder, a godparent in any form of our tradition that's English speaking. I mean, even Ifa Kayode, like so Ifa Kayode, even because the purpose of this, yes, we, me and Brian have talked about it. Me and Brian Will have talked about it, about going into, pre-recorded and editing and all that. But I like the raw and uncut, Let's ask the questions. Let's talk about it. Deeper conversations or deeper things. We will, go delve into that and pre-record, edit, and all that. But when it comes to topics like this, I think it's something that everybody gets. There's a lot of people out there that have that, that fit in that category. And even like Ifa Kayode is a Hispanic Babalawo, initiated in the Nigerian Isheshe. And I'm sure he's got language barriers, going from there. So that's something that, even bringing, I want to bring him on the panel to have, and Ifa Kayode, those of you that don't know, like he's one of us Owls After Dark. He's just he's a busy guy. So you don't see him very much, but he's definitely got some insight, because not only from this topic, but from the Nigerian Isheshe and African topic that is important that we want to share, right? Because we collectively believe that Ifa is Ifa, right? There's differences, but that delves deep into all other things that we're not even going to get into tonight. But there's really no rhyme or reason. Like this me and Brian were literally texting 20 minutes ago and we're like, oh, let's try this out.
I mean, like, you were like, here's the link. You were like, here's the link. And I'm like, all right, get online. And I'm like, and I look all disheveled, like, here I am. I mean, I'm not disheveled, but like, my hair was all jacked up. I was like, okay, hi, all right, so we're gonna do this thing,
We
and
need
like
to
let's figure it
we need to
out.
do it.
And
We need to be mic'd up like pre show. You know how they do pre show? You're mic'd up and people are like putting the makeup and
like, hold on, we have to hold on. We gotta
yeah.
get the makeup down. We're gonna pat it out, and then all of a sudden, is he mic'd up? Yeah, dude, what the fuck? There's no sound here. Get the sound check. Come on, let's go.
Sound check, sound check.
Sound check. Hold on. Anyone can hear me. No, we got echoes. What the fuck's going on? And then, but no, on the real, it's nice to just be able to have raw and uncut conversations that a lot of people don't want to do and that are afraid to do or afraid to discuss. And this is the forum for it. Like, we want people to feel like comfortable enough to talk about what's going on, how they feel in terms of their religion. And this doesn't matter if it's Lukumi. This doesn't matter if it's Afro-Cubano or Criollo or whatever you want to
Oh
call it. No,
no,
no, no.
no. We're delving into the spiritualists, the hoodoo priests, the you name it. We coming for you. Not coming in that aspect, but we want to be able to put all that information out there, be able to have that those conversation and those topics, discussed from every which point. That's the point, right? I think a lot of people have their scripted thing. I think there's a couple people that do. I'm not going to say a couple. I think there's a couple of people that have great content, especially in the YouTube space and whatever. I think that's great. I'm not saying that we're doing anything different, right? But it is a little different, right? We're going raw and uncut. I want to be able as a babalawo, and I want to be able to a babalawo has to be I don't want to say know everything, but know of everything, right? That is the thing, right? We should know about every aspect of different types of spirituality. Spirituality is another thing, right? In our Afro-Cuban tradition, it's the and we'll get more into that when we get on the topic with the spiritualists, but about the main spirits, right? The malamas, the this, the that. But spirituality is so vast, right? So if you look at the Shay version, and Ifakayo is in here listening to me, we've talked about this. It is believed, I'm not going to say they, that the spirits that we walk with are all ancestral, right? And then you go to the Afro-Cuban tradition, where we have spirits that that are assigned to us, so to speak. But what's to say that those spirits that we think are assigned to us are not ancestral? Because we got to remember our races all evolved, right? Our races all evolved, and they migrated just as they did in Africa, right? The people from Ogun State, migrated and married, people from Oyo State, and vice versa. And then when they got to the new, the Western world, then everything got, all that, and everything got all mixed up. So ancestrally, how can we necessarily say, and again, I know that topic's for the spiritualist panel, but I just little seeds I'm planting here, right? Ancestrally, and then understanding that there's so many forms of spirituality that you can't just subject it to these main things. Some of us watch birds. Some of us speak to birds outside their window, and we don't name any names, but
there's nothing wrong with talking to birds. I keep telling you this, man. It's like Mary Poppins. It's all right, even though Mary Poppins really wasn't a witch, she probably was a little bit sick and deranged, but that doesn't change the fact that we go, it is what it is. So, we gotta like basically come together and talk and have a conversation about all these things. Like we need to discuss, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of topics we need to discuss, as we know. We're just testing this out. I want, like, obviously Jose's just testing this out and we're just trying to see how this works out. What we're gonna, like, is the sound good? Is the video good? Obviously the video is good because the video is great on my end and on yours too. It's not like all of a sudden, yeah, we were just gonna talk, and then we're just like then we're frozen for the next hour, like
We're frozen for the next hour. Yeah.
having like some weird face, like, and then you're just trying to be like, what the fuck happened? But but in terms of the conversations that we're having, it's like, yeah, we want to talk about these things, and yeah, you know, I realize, I mean, we all should realize by now that social media has a huge, huge impact in terms of the religion, and because it kind of thrusts people in a position to like be able to access the information where years before you couldn't get that kind of information. I mean, now it's not hard to like go on the internet and look up, hey, what does it all allow? What is an Orisha priest? Who is Shango? Who's Oshun? Who's Yemaya? Who are these Orishas? Like, what are these Orishas, and so on and so forth. But though you're able to get this information on the internet and in social media, doesn't necessarily mean that information is concrete, meaning that doesn't mean that this information is actually correct. It's like, in some ways, it's kind of a mixture of everything, and there isn't like a solid answer because everyone thinks they know what it is. And this is where it leads to asking the specialists, asking the people who are in the religion who can answer those questions, and answer them properly. A lot of people they tend to just go on here and they'll be like, I got it all figured out. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not like that, you know? And yes, when we do, there are certain things, like I'm looking in the comments, they're talking about Egun and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, cool. See, like,
And that's exactly what we want. And we're also open for people, you guys can email me, Padrino Jose 1827 at gmail.com. Topics, most of you, actually everybody in this that I think most of you got my number. You can text me. And we'll grow as we as we go. Like we did it on TikTok fairly quickly. You know what I'm saying? I think it took us maybe a month and a half, maybe two, to kind of go.
Listen, I was shocked today that someone said, like, hey, I've seen you, Brian. Oh my God, it's you. I thought you lived in first thing they said, they thought I lived in Florida. And I'm like, no, I live in East Harlem, my dude. Like, I live in Manhattan. It's not, it's not crazy. Now, of course, great.
He's having technical difficulties. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's the Illuminati, son. It's the Illuminati. They cut me off. It's like they don't want me to tell the truth. No, but I mean, yeah, I'm trying to get used to the whole chat, because if I press the back button on my phone, I end up getting cut off. So I'm like, I end up pressing the wrong button like an idiot. So I'm figuring it out.
There's a lot of misinformation out there and some info that's not supposed to be known to everyone. That's
that is absolutely correct. That is very true.
That is absolutely a fact.
But
that's definitely too much information given on the internet. There's a lot of things that are by design learned organically, if that makes sense. And what I mean by organically is, kind of that OJT, right? That on the job training, right?
You learn on the fly sometimes, but it's
you guys have seen me on TikTok. Maybe post a picture of me with a tablero, but you don't see what I'm doing with the tablero, with the Opongi file, right? I mean, if you know, but I'm not sitting there doing a hole at bull on, on fucking TikTok live. Right? Like anybody that knows me knows I live on that time, but I might as well sleep with that shit, right? If there was a mileage, you know how the cars got the old school cars that had the clickers and that wasn't digital. Remember that? Like if my tablet or well one of them, if they had um a clicker, right? I would have over 1,000,000 miles on that tablet.
That
But my
mileage
point
is
is my
almost.
my my point is that there's some things that you need to learn by being there, by understanding and why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that's the problem is that everybody just wants the easy way. And I think even that's the misconception when it comes to the Shay, right? I think a lot of people convert. I'm gonna say some people. This is my opinion. I'm not being controversial because they think that that way is easier. It's not. I mean,
Absolutely not.
it's not, but that's their perception, right? Their perception is, oh, I could do this because it's easier. They don't, because yes, I mean, our tradition, we do too much sometimes and certain things, but then certain things are done for a reason, right? Certain things evolved for a reason. Um, and at the end of the day, you just got to have faith in what you're doing, as long as you're being taught correctly, being able to communicate. All those things are important, and it's becoming a lost art because people are so afraid to communicate. People are socially fucking awkward. I guess. So I guess that's socially.
Yeah, no, you're right. Socially awkward.
They have no social skills, right? They can't. Everything a kid's born and the first thing they do is put an iPad in front of their face. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. You know what I mean? So that's that's uh that's the day and age we live in. So it's easier to go on a live that somebody's talking, ask questions. You don't know who it is. You don't know the person's real name. You don't um I don't understand wanting the easy way either at the B, but that's what people want. This is the day and age we live in. I mean, think about it. Nobody wants to work. Everybody wants the simple way. Everybody wants to do things easy, right? They want something to fall on their lap. They don't want to take initiative to say, okay, this door closed. I'm gonna open another door, right? I have another opportunity, but I gotta work for it, right? Because at the end of the day, you gotta work for it. All the people that are older, right? Older in age, I mean, understand that what were we always taught? You work hard for what you want, right? You go work hard for what you want. Nothing's gonna be given to you. Right? Grandmother embedded that in me. Um, so then if that's the thing, then why are we always searching for the easy way? Because the easy way, when it comes easy, it also leaves easy. When it comes easy,
That's
you
true.
don't appreciate it as much. You don't appreciate it as much because it's easy. When it's
Correct.
difficult and you work for it and you make something happen, then it becomes a little bit more. You appreciate it more. It takes wow, I better be. I was not called. I said all of us. We're collectively old together. Including Zoe. We're all old together as a team. We're a
As
team
a
of old
team,
people.
we're a
We're
team
all
of
gonna be
elder. We're a team of
we're
elderly
all
people.
gonna be on AARP together.
I'm signed up to AARP, so don't worry about that. I
See,
already
you
signed
know
up
what
to.
I'm saying?
I'm on AARP, buddy. Like that shit is awesome. Like you should be on AARP when you're 25. Actually, that's like you can get on AARP when you're like 25 years old. You realize that, right?
No, I
People be
didn't know
like, "What? Yeah, you could get on it when you were super young. You can get a jump on that right then and there. You get the discounts. It's dope. I got no complaints. AARP is great. I mean, but doesn't matter what age it is. It's about just being dedicated. It's about consistency,
that.
hard work, and consistency. You really have to be consistent in this religion. And in life, don't just be like, I'm going to do something and I'm going to quit. I'm going to do something and, oh, it gets too hard, so I'm going to dump it. I'm going to do something, oh, well, I don't have the time and this and that. No. If you can make time doing all the other stuff that you normally do, like those of us who like to play video games, if you got the time to be on chat and play Call of Duty, then you have time to open up a book or to ask questions to your godparents, And don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong. Even us as priests and priestesses, we have lives. We have stuff that we got to take care of. But, we still make the time. We'll make time. We make time. Those 5 minutes, 10, maybe
it's a
30, sometimes an hour. That's the part. Yeah,
part of the
exactly. It's a sacrifice. It's part of the
so
sacrifice.
listen, you've heard me say this. Those of you that seen us on I Was After Dark, have heard me say this a million times. If you're not willing to sacrifice, it doesn't matter what Ebo you do, it's not gonna work. Right? It's not gonna flourish as it should because you're not willing. Sacrificing does not just mean just coming to do the Ebo. Sacrificing means every part of that Ebo, right? The financial sacrifice, the physical sacrifice, the time sacrifice, right? All that is a part of your sacrifice. So, not everything that's free is good because it's not gonna, it's not gonna flourish because the Orishas look at it the same way. Think about it like this. If you ask, if somebody, okay, let me try to word it correctly. If you ask somebody for something, right, like, or somebody asks you for something and you say, okay, in order for me to give this to you, right, in order for me to lend you this money, I need you to, instead of me lending you this money, I need you to come change some light bulbs in my house. Crazy fucking, whatever. Let's just say I know it's a crazy analogy.
Yeah.
I need you to come change these light bulbs in my house. But then you don't do it. You send your kid to do it, right? You send your kid to do it to go change the light bulbs in the house, in this person's house. What do you think the person sees? The person sees that you're not willing to work for it and sacrifice for what you're asking them. The Orisha looks at it the same way. Like if you're not willing to work for it, they're not willing to give you anything. And then that's a great point, Cody, that I want to touch on. That's also one of the things I want to touch on too. I think in this day and age, the younger generation hasn't been taught in the household. Mostly there is absentee parents and elders, so they're not going to know how to act when coming into a religion. I bet there be that's absolutely true, but whose fault is that? That's our fault. That's our generation's fault, right? That's not this generation's fault. It's our generation's fault for raising them that way, right? So that's a great statement, though. I totally agree with you. You're absolutely 100% right. But whose fault is that really? Right? The parents being absent. Why have kids if all you want to do is party? Why have kids if you want to just do all it, right? Why do that? Right? If you're not trying to really be a parent. So that's all part of that. So I don't know why that comment popped up twice. But Cody's comment, my godparents hear from me at least every other day. That's another topic that we will discuss on this platform and stuff, and the lack of appreciation for the people for the godparents is absurd. It's crazy out there.
It's insane.
Oh, we're on the same page. It's insane.
It's insane. There's a lack of appreciation. It's like, what the hell? I mean, there are some godparents that are not so great, and there's some godparents that are pretty good. But that's kind of touch and go because a lot of times the godchildren have a problem, or it's the godparent that has a problem, or it's some weird messed up situation, and you just kind of go like, dude, what's going on here? What are we doing? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Where? Sorry, I was going to do the Dora the Explorer shit, but I'm not doing that.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. But
That was
yeah,
bullshit.
we need to get this popping. We're gonna be on. We haven't talked about how many times we're gonna be on. It
I
is
don't
gonna be
know.
it is definitely gonna be more consistent. We just gotta figure out a schedule that works for all of us. Not only me, but also Brian and Will, and other. When we're talking about panelists, we will,
Like we should have Will here already. Like I don't know where's.
yeah, I think I sent him the thing, but I don't know. He hasn't responded.
Yeah.
But my point is that in order for us to get to that point, you know, there's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out, like how to let everybody know. I know YouTube, if you hit the little bell, you'll get notified when we post or when something. So I'm trying to figure all that out. I'm actually um hopefully I'm traveling next week, but I'm gonna work on that in a little bit while I got some time and kind of figure out like how what's the best way of getting the information out there when we're going to be on. TikTok is still a thing now, obviously for right now, so maybe we'll post that on there, either myself or one of us will post have a post on there, you know and kind of say, hey, this is
Yeah.
when we're going to be on, how we're going to be on. We haven't figured out how that's going to do it. um but it's coming. Obviously, you see, we're serious about this. We came on here tonight, and we're I appreciate everybody that's on here tonight. I appreciate everybody that's watching. Like I said, please continue to like and share, even when you go on the page. Like when we're not on live, share it. Have them like and subscribe to the channel. We want to get it growing. We understand it's going to take some time to grow. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some things, but at the end of the day, we're going to keep moving forward. No matter what people say or think, we're going to keep pushing.
That's the plan.
That's been spared. I bet there be said I've been spared. Boy. So yeah, so we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna be just as the goal is to keep talking about the things that we can talk about on here, um or on TikTok, and then get away from the negativity that we face and have endured. And a lot of that is self-inflicted. We are all grown, and we know that we ruffle feathers. But sometimes
Yeah, but the idea that we ruffle feathers is really just kind of like saying, okay, look, like my, I would like to think my goal is this, or our goal is this, to air out the problems that we have in terms of religiously, have not like real discussions about the religion, whether it's Lukumi or whether it's Isheshe, and be able to say, okay, these are the problems. Okay, we're complaining about the problems. We're complaining about the problems. We don't like this. I don't like that. And let's have these real conversations. And, we can't talk about this. And now we're talking about it. All right, we're having that. But what is the solution?
Che Buru. That's exactly the point. And
What's the solution?
We're definitely open to having conversations, even with people who disagree with us. We're all grown and are able to have intelligent, cordial conversations and agree to disagree. Because there's a lot of things. There's things sometimes that I don't. Even within our walls, that some of us may not agree with some of the things that each other do, and that's okay. But we speak about it, right? We can have an intelligent conversation about it, a cordial conversation about it.
And it's not about saying, this whole machismo, like I'm a man and this and that. No, we're grown adults, right? We are capable of understanding the differences between right and wrong, wrong and right. And we're doing these things, but why are we doing them? And how do we resolve these things? Like, there are things that, you know, there are a lot of people that probably won't agree with what Jose's saying. There's a lot of things that they won't even agree with what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. That's your right. That's your right as an individual in this world. It's your right. But because you
Mhm.
have that disagreement, how would you resolve it? What would be the answer to resolving it?
If I listen,
And
and I could be misinformed. Brian
that's
could be
another thing.
misinformed. So teach us, right? Instead of bashing, teach me something. I'm
Right.
open. I'm open to learning, right? You know, most of you know me. You know, I think I try to be. I think I'm very humble and I'm very. I know what it is to have humility. You know, just because of my years, just because I'm allowed, just because I have Odun, doesn't make me um immune to learning. I mean,
Right.
why can't I mean, I had a conversation with an Onorisha yesterday that she told me something I didn't even know. I never knew, honestly. I never knew that. And this person is very, very young in Ocha, didn't grow up in this, and um she actually put me onto some shit that I didn't know. I legitimately was unaware that that was a thing or whatever it was, and I'm gonna, you know, I listened to it. I appreciated the knowledge, and I'm gonna do my due diligence to understand that too. It's important that we all understand and we all understand and we all grow from that and then be humble enough to learn something. And if you don't, if your stance is on stance, because listen, I know a lot of people think that we're just about, oh, it's in the Odu, it's in the Odu. We're not just about it. Well, speaking for me and the I was in our group, where it's not just about Odin. We understand there's traditions and there's protocols that may or may not be in Odin, right? We understand that. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to work with this I will because he looks at something differently. I mean, Ifaka Yode, of all people, and me and him been friends for now, shit, probably like 5 years, 6 years. And we we haven't always agreed, but when he needs me, I'm there, and when I need him, he's there, and he's willing to help me in my Afro Cuban tradition, and I'm willing to help him and learn in his Nigerian Isheshe tradition. Like there's no like we don't like nah, that's not what I practice. Like what do you mean? Like I want you to do, I want you to do that. Another brother help, one brother help picks up another brother. That's protocol. That's what we're
Yeah,
supposed to do.
exactly. You know, like the one thing that I've always said, and I'm going to say it again, is I don't want to be the person that knows everything. That's a very
Yeah,
dangerous position. That is a
absolutely.
very dangerous position because to know everything would mean that, like, okay, then that means that I have nothing to learn. That's the first thing. Second, then that means that if I'm wrong, right? If I'm wrong, I get hit for it. And it looks bad on me because then they're going to say, like, well, he really doesn't know anything. And it's like, no, it's not that I don't know anything. It's that I'm willing to learn. Like, I know some things, but, I'm like, just, I look at it like this. In Ifa, just when you think you understood Ifa completely, you're always being taken to school. You're always finding something that you didn't expect that you just learned. And a lot of people need to understand that. I'm not, this is from my own perspective. I just look at it like that. Like, I don't always say I know everything. And I'm always like this. And Jose even hears me say it. I'll be like, you know, oh, do you know, he might ask me, do you know how to do this? I'm like, no, but you're going to teach me. No, but you're going to show me. Show me. Like, yo, like, I want to learn too. We're here to learn together. That's the whole purpose of doing this. We're all going through a journey together of self discovery and also of knowledge, of obtaining some type of intelligence or intellect that will further us as people. Because the whole thing, even in Orisha and Ifa, is that we're not trying to go downwards. We're trying to go up. We're supposed to go up, not down. You know? And it's interesting because it's like, yes, you know what? Yeah, Fakayode, explain something. The hell was that? I heard a noise. I was like, okay. So yeah, just, we're willing to learn. We're all willing to learn from each other. That's what we're trying to do. And we're bringing up topics that, like, hey, we need to examine this. We need to really look at these things and see, is there a solution to this problem? Because if there isn't, we got a whole new problem right then and there.
Or even if it's not a solution, let's make this very, very clear.
Yes.
Why did it change? What was the reason?
Right.
Just because it's not a reason, right? We gotta be able to be open-minded enough to understand that we had to evolve. Those of you that know Odun, those of you that know a little bit, even a small piece of Ifa, understand that Orunmila traveled different lands, and in every one of those lands, he had to adapt to that land, adapt to whatever situation he was in. He had to adapt, and he learned things along the way in every land, right? So, no matter what, he had to evolve with where he was in time, right? Or wherever he was in that land. That was a thing. So, those are all things that you got to realize that, something that evolved doesn't necessarily mean something. Yeah, something that evolved doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's wrong now, right? It's being done wrong. It evolved for a reason, right? Why though, right? That's the key, is delving into that point of why did this situation happen? What was the cause? What was the cause of this happening? And now the effects of that happening, right? Because if you delve into Patakis and stories of the Orishas, you understand that even they went through things, right? That a lot of people don't even think about even noticing. Like, really, really, if I'll challenge the people in this group or in this chat or who are watching. If you know your guardian angel, really delve deep into who that guardian angel was and the things that they went through. And then correlate that to things that you've done or gone through, or mistakes you've made, or even accomplishments that you made through that Orisha. Just because I'm a son of Chango, Brian's a son of Yemaya, does not mean I'm Chango and he's Yemaya. No, we're descendants. We're I wouldn't even want to say descendants. We're just followers of that cult, of that tradition, and in being followers of that tradition, we are, we have traits of those Orishas. But think about that. Like, really delve into your guardian angel and find out the good and bad. Right? Everybody, like, the main guardian angels, that's who they want to be. Chango, Shun, oh my God, Chango. No, okay. Really delve into who they are, and then think about that and correlate it to your life. So, yeah. Well, I don't want to keep holding you guys up. This was like I said, it was a little test run. We're gonna do more of these, and then we're in the next one we post is gonna be the specific topic that we're gonna get on. And we're gonna probably share some of that and discuss that, through other social media avenues. You guys help us get the word out. It will be greatly, greatly appreciated. And understand, and we look forward to having anybody and anyone who wants to be on the panel. and discuss certain things. We're open to discuss everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? And we'll go from there. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys being on there. I appreciate it.
Again, like, follow, subscribe, share. You know, when we get back on here again, we want to be able to have better, not just better conversations, but we want to have conversations that go on a wide range of a spectrum. You know, we want to be able to just kind of connect with people. You know, we want to connect with people. We want people to understand that what we're doing
It's
is not
bigger
just,
than us.
it's bigger than us. It's not just saving humanity. It's not just saving humanity. It's not about saving the whales and the universe. It's not about any of that stuff. It's not about trying to, you know, part the Red Sea, turn water into wine, or bring people back from the dead. We're not trying to do any of those things. We're not trying to be all miracle workers. You know what I'm saying? What we're trying to do is connect with people. We want to connect with you guys. We want to understand where you're coming from. We want to understand your concerns. We want to have conversations that are sometimes very messy and uncomfortable, but in the process, we find a solution. We find an answer. And if we don't find an answer, that's just as good too, because at least we talked about it. We got it out of our system. All right.
All right, y'all. Even a boy, I thought so. They would he phone.
Boy, what's your
Okay. Hold on, Brian.